and determination shown throughout this process. But like I said, we don't know exactly what led to Talbert's arrest, but it seems like police have enough to prove that he did it. And hopefully, finally, after 18 years, Donna and Daryl will be getting the justice they deserve.
My friends thought I was crazy for saying that Hollywood is filled of vampires, but this video is real.
I guess drink each other's blood might mislead people, or like people are imagining us with like goblets and we're like Game of Thrones drinking each other's blood. It's just a few drops, but yes, we do consume each other's blood on occasion for ritual purposes only. It is used for a reason, and it is controlled where it's like, let's shed a few drops of blood and each drink it.
Girl, what do you mean for ritualistic purposes? That's not holy. That's also not natural. Let's not normalize that. Anyways, this is my driver.
So they just admitted that they drink blood for rituals and no one's saying
acting
anything?
From Jennifer's body 10 years ago. I don't know. Something's weird.
That's insane.
This is so creepy. Jeffrey Epstein was growing a highly toxic and potentially lethal plant that caused really strange effects. This is very much real, and documents from the Epstein files released by the DOJ confirm this, so let's talk about it. So Epstein was growing Angel's trumpet plants in his private greenhouse, which contains a highly toxic substance called scopolamine. The substance is often referred to as devil's breath or the zombie rug due to its ability to induce extreme suggestibility, memory loss, and even the loss of free will. In this 2014 email, here is Epstein asking about his trumpet plants at the nursery, with the recipient, Anne Rodriguez, responding, "Will do." A little bit on Anne Rodriguez. She served as household manager for many years at Epstein's Virgin Island properties and lived there as a permanent resident. The files show that she was involved from at least 2010 through 2023, maintaining the properties even after his death. In 2015, Epstein was forwarded this email with a link to a Daily Mail article published back in 2012 on scopolamine. This was sent by Antoine Verglas, who really isn't mentioned in the files, but I found him on the Forbes website. He has an article dedicated to him talking about how he was a television host and then had a successful career for over 30 years as a fashion photographer. In that article, Verglas wrote, "Have a look at the article and especially video at the end. Click on link." So I did that too. But the video is no longer there, although the photos in the article pointed to the YouTube Vice channel. I just searched on YouTube Vice Devil's Breath, and the video came up if you wanted to go watch it. A third email in 2022, described as a victim impact statement, shows a Joseph Manzaro recalling an incident from December of 2014, where he claimed to be rugged with scopolamine. As far as his connection to Epstein, that is also something that I could not find additional details on. But this email is in the Epstein files, and in my opinion, scopolamine is a very specific thing to be mentioning. Follow me if you would like to hear more about the Epstein files without having to do the investigation for yourself. I go down the rabbit holes, so you don't have to.
I've heard about that drug before. If you get any of that in your system, it's over.
Been confirmed what everyone suspected about why their gas is no longer lasting in their vehicles. Congress quietly passed the E15 gas law this week, basically saying they've officially made it okay to put E15 in gas. What exactly is E15? It is a blend of ethanol they are now putting in gasoline to basically make gasoline last longer, except that when you're running a motor on gasoline, it just makes you burn through it quicker, because ethanol is basically a filler, increasing the amount of ethanol being added to gas basically to dilute it. which also happens to be pretty corrosive, which is why things like boat and any small motor equipment can't run on gasoline if it has ethanol in it, so you have to hunt down an ethanol-free gas station. Good luck with that, because the reason a lot of people's cars are not working properly, like they stutter whenever you're stopped at a red light or sitting in traffic, is because of the amount of ethanol that is now in your gas. Why is ethanol added to gasoline to begin with? Well, it makes less emissions, so this is more planet-friendly. And how they sold it in the US is that they were going to cut our prices for gasoline by up to 10 cents a gallon by adding ethylene to our gas. Then something weird happened in that gasoline stopped smelling like gas sometime in the last year. Then people who used to go 10 plus days without having to stop at the gas station are now having to stop every single week. Drivers started noticing that their vehicles simply weren't performing the way that they used to, making a lot of people suspect that it was their gas or something new that was in it. Now it looks like all of those people were right, because they are now adding more ethanol to gas than ever, meaning when you buy a gallon of gas, you're only getting 85% gas. 15 gas also can't safely or legally be used in any vehicle that was built before 2001, and you absolutely should not be using this gas in anything with a small motor. While Congress is about to package this as if this is a way to lower prices at the pump, they've simply confirmed everything people have been suspecting.
Touristers are flocking to Evanston, Wyoming to view the reverse bald eagle right here, who's best friends with a duck that is a paraplegicer. When it was just a duckling, a hailstorm came. One pegged it right in the head and its wings stopped working. And the authorities and the scientists thought it was going to die, but this reverse bald eagle, they said, swooped down, covered it up so the hail wouldn't hit it. And after the hailstorm, it's carried it everywhere. Here, it's holding it under the water so they can eat like the worms and the insectages at the bottom of the river. And then it just flies it everywhere it goes. They sleep together every night. And the scientists are saying they've never seen this behavior lineage before, but it doesn't surprise them, the friendship that they've been able to bond. Nature looks out for each other.
Jamaica could be about to change forever. For the first time in their history, the country may have just discovered huge amounts of oil off their southern coast. No one tell America. And if that actually is confirmed and then drilled, it could, in theory, radically change things. Because right now, Jamaica currently imports almost all of their fuel, which reportedly costs the country up to $2 billion every single year. But if they had an oil industry of their own, it could completely transform the economy. It could create jobs and potentially bring in billions of dollars every single year. Bombaclat. But there is a pretty big catch. You see, Jamaica is a country that for years has been consistently supporting the move to green energy. So critics say if they do decide to drill, it would be a pretty big contradiction. And not only that, but environmental groups are raising concerns that this potential drilling zone is right next to protected marine ecosystems, coral reefs, fishing areas, and wetlands. They say even one major oil spill could be catastrophic for their coastline and their tourism industry. So Jamaica could be about to face one of their biggest decisions ever. Drill or not to drill? What do you guys think they should do?
Friendly reminder to never give your address to anyone on Facebook Marketplace or anyone on the internet for that matter. Because Juliana found out the hard way, you cannot trust strangers on the internet no matter how nice they seem. When she listed this piece of furniture for sale on Facebook Marketplace, she didn't think anything of it. And when she gave this person her address to come do the porch pickup, thinking her cameras would protect her from anyone wanting to do anything weird. Except when this woman came to pick up this piece of furniture, she didn't just look it over and move it around outside of Juliana's front porch. She then walked up to this woman's door and tried to walk into her house, despite the fact that there was a camera pointing directly at her, showing just how not safe this situation was. Juliana herself expressing that she was just in shock, because when she heard someone trying to get in her front door, she thought it was one of her kids. Just for her to open her door and see that the person trying to get into her house was the stranger she met on Facebook Marketplace and had bought the piece of furniture from her. Thankfully, Juliana and her kids are all safe, but this woman was not able to explain why she was trying to open her door. Juliana explaining that she had done everything Facebook Marketplace tells you to do when vetting your buyers. With stories like this becoming more common whether you're buying or selling items online, at the end of the day, these are still strangers on the internet, and you never know what their true intent is. anyone else seen the body cam footage from Mackenzie Sharilla's arrest and noticed this kind of ghostly whisper happening?
Yeah. Is your head going in? Don't. I'm not gonna hurt you. Yeah?
I guess Dom's sister is the one who actually pointed this out, and if you listen to the tape, it sounds like the voice is saying, "She killed us." "She killed us" is literally said right after the officer says to Mackenzie something to the effect of, "I don't want to hurt you." Now, after this was pointed out, some people said that the officer must have heard it too, because it sounds like he says, "What was that?" right after the voice says, "She killed us." But when I first listened to the audio, it kind of sounds like the officer is just asking Mackenzie, "You okay?" Whether he noticed it or not, the fact that this was picked up on body cam footage is really crazy. And even if you don't believe in the paranormal, first responders and police officers are usually the first ones to admit that the supernatural does exist, because they've seen or heard far too many things that can't be explained. So let me know in the comments what you think of this. Did you hear the voice in the body cam footage? And do you think it belongs to one of the boys?
The theory that the hantavirus is just a cover-up because so much stuff is coming about the Disney cruises. And it's low-key tied to Epstein. Ghislaine Maxwell used to work for Disney Cruises. And one of the stops used to be Little St. James, Epstein's Island.
What? That was a Disney cruise stop?
What's so insane is Ghislaine Maxwell is seen in pictures at Disney Cruises being one of the coordinators. And then just recently, this is news literally last week, Disney Cruises are being investigated for child video.
We are back, just like America's thirst for another conquest. Because Politico is now reporting that the Pentagon has spent months positioning the right troops and weaponry needed to launch a military attack on Cuba. They say all it needs now is the final go-ahead from Trump, really on a world tour. Speaking of, the US may have its first ever $250 bill. Because according to the Washington Post, officials have pressed the Bureau of Engraving to design it with the president's portrait, which, if this actually happened, would make it the first appearance of a living person on US currency for more than 150 years. Over in DR Congo, officials from the IRC are now warning that the current Ebola outbreak is spreading faster than responders can contain it, saying it risks becoming the deadliest on record if it doesn't receive urgent international action. But not everyone is on board, because last week a crowd of locals set fire to hospital tents, which they believed were housing Ebola patients, because they don't believe this virus is real. They say that it's an invention by outsiders for NGOs and hospitals to make money. World Cup drama has already begun, because today FIFA has been subpoenaed not once, but twice as part of an investigation into their World Cup ticket pricing. Over in Kenya, at least 16 students have died in an overnight fire at a boarding school for girls. Israel have intensified their attacks on southern Lebanon, killing at least 16 people. And a former senior member of the CIA was arrested by the FBI, and he was accused of stealing hundreds of gold bars hidden at his home worth over $40 million.
Did you hear about the tunnel that the authorities discovered last week that goes from California all the way to Maine? So it goes all the way under America. They said at the deepest point, it's 9 miles deep under the Earth crust surface. This is the entrance in Northern California, and then this is where it comes out in Maine. It comes out right on the beach. People have seen these cave openings before, but they've gone in and they've just turned around because they're so far. Well, Dr. Remy Demi and his scientific team last week said, we're going to get to the bottom of this. And so they entered in Northern California. They had walkie-talkie telecommunicators, some Prime Energy drinks, some Swedish fish, and just some other things to eat. And they didn't think it would take them this long, and it took them over 2 weeks to get to the end of it on these motorcycles. And when they came out in Maine, they said, wow, we can't believe that it's gone this far. So now they're trying to figure out who built them. They said they found artifactages that looked Asian in their nature and ancient. So they don't know if the ancient Asians that came over on the Bering Strait created this tunnel, but we're trying to figure out more.
Lewis and Clark were using Sacagawea as an interpreter with the native people as they ventured into the Wild West. And before they got to the Rocky Mountains, they realized, oh my gosh, we're going to need horses to be able to survive this thing. So they were trying to negotiate with the chief of the tribe of the one that was closest to them. And as Sacagawea is interpreting, she breaks down hysterically, crying because she realizes that she's talking to her long-lost brother, who told her that she was abducted as a kid to be a slave by one of the neighboring tribes. And I was just, as I found that story out, I was like, what is this poor girl not gone through? Anyways, this is my driver, and you can learn more about it at the Lewis and Clark diary. I don't know, it's probably online, but this is my Radmore fit. If you like it, you can shop their page and we can twin. Trying to get this to go high in the sky, but I also can't tell where it's going because the golf ball is the same color as these clouds.
Kamikaze dolphins.
Pardon?
This is crazy. Right now, there are 85 bottlenose dolphins employed by the U.S. Navy and like 50 sea lions. This isn't a new idea either. This has gone back to Vietnam times. It's crazy. Back in the day, they would train them to go and find certain mines, would strap these little tiny explosive devices for the dolphins to place. But now they're talking about kamikaze dolphins, where you literally strap a larger explosive to a dolphin. Literally bombs on these dolphins, and they run them into either mines or to ships, and that's what makes them explode.
That's terrible.
And the dolphins die. This is why it's illegal to talk to dolphins. It is a federal offense to interact with a dolphin in any way beyond the confines of
a
structure.
dolphin show?
Yeah, you don't know which dolphins they're training, but people have gotten in trouble with being on the side of a boat and not even touching the dolphin, but interacting and talking with it. Yes.
They got in trouble for that?
You can't touch that dolphin.
And it's of course we would use them for weapons as a bad guy. You're like, yes, it's like freaking sharks with laser beams, right?
Attached to their freaking heads.
We've got dolphins with bombs on their noses.
Bro, are you planning your family road trip for this summer and it's requiring you to drive on I-40 or I-35?
Not anymore.
You've got to be careful because that is serial killer season. Parking lots.
So this dude, about a year ago, bro, he freaked me out so bad because he said in another video, which by the way, his on TikTok is Nomad Animal Encounter if you want to go watch his videos. They're really good. But he said that the FBI is aware that there are about 500 unnamed serial killers lurking in the dark of I-40. For reference, this is what I-40 typically looks like at night when you go off of the trail. He was talking about in this video that there have been 2 cases already of kids disappearing from rest stops. I believe both of the children were found, praise God, but this is insane. So of course, because I love to hyperfixate on things that I honestly shouldn't right before bed, I decided to look into serial killers that used I-40 to do their heinous acts. Come to find out, one of I think the most prolific serial killer in U.S. history, his name was Samuel Little. He was called the Corridor Killer. This man targeted vulnerable women and also schmegs workers went unnoticed, undetected for decades, right? Take the women, he would R-word them brutally, mind you, and then he would strangle them and dispose of their bodies in the many acres of remote areas on I-40. Literally, decades he was doing this. Exact way that the FBI explains, what they say they know about the serial killers is exactly what Samuel Little did. And it makes me wonder, what are we doing about it? Y'all keep saying this every year that, there's 500 serial killers. Oh, great, go get them. Go get them. What are we talking about? You're the FBI. But y'all, anyway, as always, make sure you like and follow. Comment down below if you knew this already. Comment down below if you live near I-40. If you do, just...
No women wanted them, so they SA'd and unalived a 12-year-old girl. Johann Rangel and Franklin Jose had no luck picking up women at the bar that night because no women wanted them. Instead of just giving up, Johann and Franklin decide to follow a 12-year-old girl, Jocelyn Nungare, to a convenience store. The 2 men asked Jocelyn for directions, pretending like they were lost. Then they managed to lure Jocelyn underneath a dark, isolated bridge. The men forcibly removed all of Jocelyn's clothing. Then the men tied Jocelyn's arms and legs together and proceeded to horrifically SA her. After SAing Jocelyn, the men strangled her until she passed away. Then they threw Jocelyn's body into some shallow water underneath the bridge. The men have not been sentenced yet because their trials have not yet taken place. Johan had bite marks and scratches all over his arms while he was getting arrested. That means that 12-year-old Jocelyn fought back hard, attempting to defend herself during the horrific 2-hour assault. Jocelyn was incredibly brave, and I truly commend her for that. But what do you guys think about this case?
Holy, the explosion in Florida is wild.
What the fuck? No. Dude, what the way.
So what you are seeing right now is staggering footage of Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin rocket engulfed in flames after a failed hot fire test. Now, it completely lit up the sky, which you could see from almost 200 miles away. But this is actually a bigger setback for NASA than you might think, because it was just this week that they announced that Blue Origin was the private company that had won the contract to help them construct the $20 billion base on the moon. And then this happens in the same week. Now, somewhat surprisingly, given the size of the explosion, no one was injured, thankfully, and everyone is safe.
A new AirTag alert warning that you should be aware of, especially around your parked vehicle. And why do I say that? Because an individual parked his vehicle outside of his friend's home overnight. And upon going into his vehicle, he received an alert on his iPhone that a new AirTag had been found. The one problem was he didn't install any new AirTags. And when he started to search for them, he couldn't believe where they were located. As a matter of fact, have a look at this video for yourself. Look at this. Check this out. It's like painter's tape they used to put the AirTag under the vehicle. Look at that right there. Yep, Apple AirTag. And then when he got in the vehicle, he put it in reverse. They blocked his backup camera. Watch this. Covered it with tape and added a secondary AirTag right underneath the roof rack of the vehicle. And as you can see from this as well, they actually put the same tape inside of the door latch. And why do they do all of this, do you ask? One of the main purposes is mostly vehicle theft. They use the AirTags to track the car back to the location it's at, where you live or where you work, and then pick the perfect time to either steal the vehicle or rob the vehicle. Secondary use is more scarier. They use this to track people, your location, your whereabouts, where you're going. And actually, they're using it for trafficking as well. And what you can do to help protect yourself? iPhone users enable alerts of unknown AirTags. Android users use Track Detect app. Also, visually inspect common hiding spots on your vehicle if you get an alert. And also be aware they're folding in the mirrors as well too. Why? Because it takes you time to get out of the vehicle and undo all that stuff and try to figure out why it's happening. And it also gives them enough time now, if they're going to do something to you right then and there, to do it while you're distracted. So if this happens to you, don't dismiss it as a prank or a joke. Take it seriously and alert the local authorities. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
And the district attorney explicitly stated she will stand trial for capital murder.
Good.
Once doctors restore her mental competency.
What's
I don't
wrong
know
with her
how long
mental?
that's supposed to take, but obviously I'll keep you guys posted.
Besides her thinking of such dark things to do to that innocent child, she deserves like the worst penalty there is. Selena Gomez showed up to a store in the UK, and people are noticing something is very off. Yeah, I'll tell you what's off. She's a lizard. There's no way she is human. Like, look at that. Every single video I see of her, please tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, is a whole different person. She looks older. She looks younger. She looks different. Each face, her structure is like not the same. So what's up with her? Who knows?
The monster below who never blinks.
The monster below
because
who never
it's
blinks.
constantly watching, and it only preys on little children. You're in the Arctic. It's freezing cold. The people in the village are always very clear. do not go on the thin ice. Do not go to the edge of the water. This little boy is out on an adventure with his dog, and they're walking around, and suddenly he hears a tap. And there's no one around. It's just him and this dog. He keeps following the sound of this tap. So he gets to the edge of the water because he thinks there might be somebody under them. So he looks over, and then suddenly a long, scaly, slimy hand grabs his ankle, pulls him into the water. The dog starts panicking, trying to grab at him. He tries to grab at the dog. The kid goes underwater. The dog runs back to the village, starts barking like crazy. They realize the kid's not with them. So they follow this dog. The dog's going absolutely nuts, and he takes him to the edge of the water. He's literally looking at the water, barking. And they realize this may have been a visit from what they call the kalupalik, which is a humanoid aquatic creature. And it's been passed down through generations in indigenous culture all over. This creature lives under the ice near shorelines in dark, shallow coastal waters. Apparently, it feeds off their youth so she can never age. This is a very scary story for little children, so I'm sorry, but...
A solar flare just blacked out radio across the entire Atlantic Ocean, and now NOAA is saying that a geomagnetic storm is hitting Earth tonight. And that could make the northern lights visible across 18 different states, so you want to make sure you don't miss it. They're also saying that it just launched a burst of plasma into space at over 1 million miles per hour, and that is what is heading towards Earth right now. Hello? Whenever that plasma slams into Earth's magnetic field later tonight, it can not only mess with just GPS signals, but also affect satellites and even stress the power grids. NOAA just put out a map of where the aurora could be visible tonight, and I'm gonna put it on screen now so that you can screenshot it if you don't want to miss it. Hopefully, whenever you're watching this video right now, it's the latest version, but it includes Oregon, Wyoming, Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, New York, and Maine.
Planet Earth's biggest show is happening right now, the Northern Lights. Space weather forecasters, they say this could be one
By
of
the
the
time this is out,
displays
it must have happened.
of the year.
The best time to make sure that you go look is going to be between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. tonight, no matter what time zone you're in. If you are in any of the states on the map, make sure you go outside, look north, and get away from all of the lights. Guys, make sure that you get photos and drop them in the comments on this video so that we can all see them with you.
First of all, why is there a band named I Am the World Trade Center? Second of all, why did they put out an album 2 months before the attacks on 9/11? And track 11 on the album is called September.
That is weird. September 11th.
Explain that one.
I Am the World Trade Center.
I don't get this anymore. This is my driver. And do you know how long it takes to produce an album? Like, someone had to have known at least a year before. And to be so sneaky about it and make it into an album and profit off of like some like future hope that people will be like, dang, this band knew. Like, what in the American consumerism? I don't get it.
That's actually crazy. Why has no one looked into
Here are the
this?
conspiracy theories floating around TikTok this week. They're pretty wild, so sit down, get a drink, and take a minute. Number 1, Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez had a baby. They were given the option of sacrificing Selena or sacrificing the baby. They chose to sacrifice Selena. The baby was given to Kourtney Kardashian, and it is now affectionately known as Rain. Selena Gomez did die, and the person who is walking around as Selena Gomez is not Selena Gomez. That's all the information I have. I'm sure there's a lot more. Go down that rabbit hole. Number 2, a lot of people in Hollywood and politics have been involved in some sort of cannibalism. This week we've called out Ellen DeGeneres. Now I asked ChatGPT to confirm if that was in the Epstein files. They said they cannot confirm, but this has been going like all over the internet. So again, do your research. Number 3, remember when the aliens landed at the Miami Mall and there was like 1,000 cops that showed up and then we kind of like never heard about it again? Well, supposedly the coordinates of the Miami Mall are like some sort of reverse order, a tiny bit off from the coordinates of Antarctica. It is widely conspiracy theorized that Antarctica is where you can get away from the simulation that is Earth, and or where we keep and talk with extraterrestrials and aliens. So they landed at the Miami Mall by accident. They clearly should have been in Antarctica. Number 4, the day that Charlie Kirk died, a suspicious amount of young men were wearing maroon shirts on the UVU campus. Now, maroon is not a part of their campus colors. So what does that mean? Well, in the Epstein files, there is colors listed for special operation forces, meaning that the people who are part of a special operations force wear a certain color during that op so that they know like who's in on the op, okay? There are colors listed in the Epstein files, and there is one day where the color is redacted. That day is the day that Charlie Kirk died. And last but certainly not least, the government has the technology to know what we are thinking in our minds and serve us the ads and or information that we are thinking.
I believe
think
it.
a lot of us have like seen this and it's like really creepy, but someone said that it's like confirmed in some sort of way that they know what we're thinking. They serve us these ads again. And here's the creepiest part. They control what we do and don't see and our emotional reactions to them. There is a conspiracy theory going around that is why there has not been a larger emotional reaction to the Epstein files, because they are purposely suppressing it in our brains
I don't know about
because
that.
of these waves.
I don't know about that one.
So,
that might be a reach.
if you're wondering how not to spiral, whether you should believe all this, don't listen to me. I believe some of them, not all of them. Certainly do your research. That's just what I heard.
This boxer killed this promoter after the promoter poisoned him to try to fix a fight. Back in the 80s, there was this player who used to play for the New York Jets. His name was Mark Gastineau. After he got done playing football, he wanted to be a boxer, right? He got with this promoter named Rick Parker, and this dude Rick was like a sleazeball, bro. Like, he would do whatever he can to become like the next big promoter, like Don King or something, right? And some of the fights he would kind of pay the other guys to let Mark win, because he wanted Mark to fight big heavyweights like Holyfield and like during that time, just like during the 80s and stuff.
Yeah.
It gets to the point where he's actually winning a bunch of fights. This dude Mark is not really a good boxer though, because he's a football player.
Yeah.
Right? He ends up fighting this dude named Tim Anderson, right? This dude Rick tries to tell Tim like, fix the fight, blah, blah, blah. And this dude Tim is like, all right, yeah, I'll fix the fight.
Yeah.
But then he goes up and he actually whoops his ass. Rick hits up Tim again and is like, look, bro, like, let's do another fight. You know what I'm saying? Against Mark.
Yeah.
So Tim is like, all right, bro, but you already seen what happened last time, bro. You know what I mean? It is what it is, right? Before the fight, they ended up changing Tim's cornerment to like some random guys that Tim don't even know.
In his water.
Exactly.
Oh.
Rick ended up putting stuff into Tim's water. And while Tim was fighting, his vision gets hella blurry and he really can't fight for real. So this dude Mark ended up beating him that time. This dude Tim actually has like real health problems because of what happened to him. So he starts calling Rick like, bro, just like tell me what you gave me. Like, I know you poisoned me, bro, but just like let me know so that I can tell my doctors, because I'm really dying from this stuff.
Whoa.
This dude Rick literally tells me, says, if you call me again about this, I'm gonna kill your sister.
He says that to him.
He says that to him. He says that to Tim. So a couple years goes by. He pulls up to Rick's office with a gun, points the gun at Rick, and tells him, tell me what the you poisoned me with right now, or else I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
This dude Rick just tells him like, look, bro, if you don't get out of here, I'm gonna have people go kill your sister. So Tim says, you know what? This shoots him straight in the head right there in his office.
In his office.
So, you know, obviously the shots go off, the cops come. Tim was trying to explain to them like the whole story of what happened, but this dude Rick Loki was able to cover his tracks, and there was no evidence that he poisoned Tim at all.
Yeah.
And to this day, he's still in jail.
Wow.
Crazy, bro.
That's so insane.
So he's poisoned but alive.
No, you are not mistaken here, okay? The spam dog is real.
Ew.
And it can hurt you. Let's talk about it. So yes,
Right.
you're looking at a real product here that was just debuted at the National Restaurant Association. Get this, in Chicago, Illinois. They don't let you put ketchup on hot dogs there. What are they gonna do to you when you make a hot dog out of canned meat? Like us in the US, we're not beating the allegations here at all, okay? How do we make a hot dog even more unhealthy? Now, despite all the things I just said there, of course I'm going to try this, okay? I'm an American still, and I know my civil duty to my country, and that's to try everything that is probably going to kill me. Now, the reason that Spam is doing this is because they're actually pivoting away from the whole canned meat, and they're trying to go to apparently another shape here, which would be the cylinder of a hot dog. And they're hoping people are going to be creative with this by adding kimchi to it, maybe rice on top of it, pineapple, kind of giving it more of a Hawaiian feel. Also, last note here, if anybody's having a cookout this year, I think you should legally have to disclose that you are serving Spam dogs and not like real hot dogs. Just something I thought I'd put out there. So there you guys go. There's the new Spam dog that's available soon, I guess. I'd like to hear in the comments below what you guys think about this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
While Trump was in China, they gave Trump a shorter chair than President Xi's. Okay, so look at this. You can see Trump is shorter and President Xi is propped up, even though President Trump is 4 inches taller. It's not the most important news in the world, but I just found it incredibly interesting and quite humorous, honestly. Follow for more political crack.
Zoo security has really amped up to the point where if you go to especially the Louisville Zoo, you will be expected to take every single item out of your bag. And by security, I mean an orangutan that goes by the name Amber, who it doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, or small child, if you have a bag, she expects you to show her every single thing you have packed inside. And she will be completely unimpressed with everything that you show her, no matter how weird or unexpected it is. Like this woman who basically has a magic bag where she has a very small bag, miraculously takes out like 50 pounds worth of stuff from this one bag. This orangutan named Amber having the gift to know when you still have stuff in your bag, even when you tell her you have nothing else to show her, she still knows you have more stuff and you are not free to go until you show her absolutely everything. She is looking for something specific, something that she actually finds in this woman's bag. Out of a dozen videos, this is the most excited I saw this orangutan get. Her other top favorite things to check out are women's manicures, small children which she insists to kiss the top of their heads, and babies being by far her favorite.
That's cute, but weird, but cute.
The lines on Mount Everest are getting out of control. This is just from last week, and a lot of these people couldn't summit because they ran out of daylight. But then they said Shaun White, Olympic snowboarder laborer, hiked up there unbeknownst to the group, and he strapped in his snowboard and hit that ramp jump and did a flip turn stuntage trick. And they said everyone was hooting, hollering, and cheering, and they didn't realize it was Shaun. Well, the skiers were like, the snowboarders aren't the only cool ones that are going to get away with this. And so Johnny Mosley was up there as well. That's him. He didn't get as much air as Shaun White, but he is the Iron Cross champion genius, and everyone was cheering for him as well. And they said it was a very unifying moment.
And why do I say that? Because over $9 million worth of cocaine, you heard what I said, cocaine, was found in a truck shipping Kim Kardashian's Skims products. And this is all according to now multiple reports. Authorities stopped a transport truck en route from the Netherlands to England, carrying Kim Kardashian's Skims clothing. The truck contained almost 200 pounds of cocaine hidden inside of it. And this individual right here was the alleged driver of that vehicle, carrying 28 pallets of Kim Kardashian's Skim products. And also, according to the report, he made a stop and picked up the cocaine. And the crazier part about it all, the truck was modified to handle both the product and the product, if you know what I mean. And according to this report from E! News, Kim Kardashian's Skims line played a role in the $9.5 million drug bust. And once again, this is all being blamed on the truck driver. The UK court jails the truck driver over millions in cocaine smuggling. And as expected, this story is as weird as it sounds. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Why is there not enough publicity on this going on? Like, why is she not
Why
in
are
trouble or
the
being
elite
questioned?
obsessed with child sacrifice?
Go to the hospital. This year's selection of nominees in the Best Actress category.
Do you want this? Yes. What would you give up for it? Anything.
Your soul?
Anything. Congratulations.
Anna Victoria Alcott.
She magically wins. She's giving a speech. Something feels wrong. This super elite, world famous actress, played by Kim Kardashian, asked this upcoming actress, what is she willing to sacrifice to win the award? Meanwhile, Kim Kardashian grabs her stomach, implying she wants her baby. As soon as she's willing to give up her baby, she wins the award. As if some sort of hive mind was at play, and everyone knew her answer. It really makes me wonder, why are the elite and the super wealthy and rich and famous people so obsessed with child sacrifice? As always, stay weird.
They dismembered her body and ate her with potatoes. 16-year-old Karina Bardachan attended a party at an apartment that two of her friends lived at. The apartment residents were two 20-year-old men, Maxim and Yuri. Karina had a crush on Maxim and was so infatuated with him that she decided to stay at the apartment even after the other guests had left. Later that night, Karina and Maxim went into the bathroom together. Maxim took his clothes off and sat on top of Karina in the bathtub. Maxim held Karina's feet underwater and signaled for Yuri to come in. Yuri entered the bathroom and then held Karina's head underwater until she drowned and passed away. Yuri and Maxim then dismembered Karina's body. The two men cooked the meat on Karina's body and then baked her flesh with potatoes. They consumed the meal that they made with Karina's body, along with the potatoes. Yuri and Maxim even fed Karina's body to their roommate, who had no idea that she was eating a human being. When police arrested the men, they claimed that they did it because they were intoxicated and hungry. Maxim was sentenced to 19 years in prison, and Yuri was sentenced to 18 years in prison, which, in my opinion, is not even close to the amount of time that they should have gotten. But what do you guys think about this case?
That's disgusting. Sick person.
Breaking news from Southern California. There is a brush fire, and I wasn't going to make a video about it, but it is now spreading pretty quickly. We're talking 200 acres now burned, even some structures, and it looks like it's getting close to neighborhoods, and the Santa Ana winds aren't slowing down for at least 4 or 5 hours. They say they have about 200 people working on this fire, 5 helicopters and 3 air tankers. This is about 40 miles from Los Angeles, so hopefully it doesn't spread anywhere there because, we don't want Karen Bass to get involved. You know how that can go, but prayers up for anyone in the area, and if we have any updates on this, I'll be sure to keep you guys updated.
Did you know that the original coining of the term jaywalking was an actual public relations spin from car manufacturers in order to spin the blame from the cars themselves onto the pedestrians? Let's talk about it. So in the early days of cars, and obviously people driving them and new to driving them, there was something called car killings, and I can assume you know what I'm talking about here. Yes, that is somebody in a car hitting and killing somebody that was just walking in the street. So obviously with this becoming more and more of a common occurrence, the car manufacturers were not having it. So what they did was actually hired public relations spin doctors, I guess is what they're called, in order to develop some sort of way to shift the blame from the cars themselves and shift them onto pedestrians. And that is exactly what they did. They developed the term jaywalking. And the reason it was called J, as in J-A-Y, is because that actually means an inexperienced and naive person, usually found in rural areas. So there you guys go. There is the history of the word jaywalking and how it was actually a public relations spin in the beginning. So I would like to hear in the comments below what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
The Ebola outbreak that is happening right now just got declared a global health emergency, and as of today, the United States has now banned travel from 3 different countries. There are over 300 total suspected cases across Congo and Uganda right now, and there is no approved vaccine and no treatment for this strain at all. They're saying that this is actually only the 3rd time that this strain has ever even shown up, and the existing Ebola vaccines don't even work.
Tonight, outbreaks of the deadly Ebola virus in 2 African countries have prompted the World Health Organization to declare a global health emergency.
It started in eastern Congo about 3 weeks ago, and since then it has spread to Congo's capital and crossed the border to Uganda. As of today, anybody that has been to Congo, Uganda, or South Sudan in the past 21 days is banned from entering the US. American citizens can come back, but they need to get screened before they're allowed in. The World Health Organization director declared it a global health emergency, and then in the same exact announcement said that it does not meet the criteria to be a pandemic. There is no treatment and there is no vaccine for this strain, and the agency responding obviously just lost a quarter of their workforce. So are we good?
If you don't believe in aliens, can you please provide me a proper explanation as to how the Pyramid of Giza, the northern coordinates, are somehow the exact speed of light? Down to the 7th decimal is a little spooky. And I refuse to believe that humans were that smart on their own at the time. Especially 4,000 years ago without an iPhone. I can just Google these things, but I don't know. Anyways, this is my driver, and this is my Radmore fit. If you like it, you can shop their webpage, and I tagged them in the video. But I'm going to try and get this to go over that first marker, but everything is starting left today. So if I can open the face right and fix that, that'd be epic.
Yep, the WHO had just declared the highest level of global health emergency, with Ebola spreading undetected across 2 countries for weeks, and lives have already been lost. People were terrified after the virus reached Kinshasa, a city of 17 million, while a woman who caught it from her infected husband unknowingly carried it to a city of Goma, exposing 2 more million people in just days. But it gets much worse, as the Bundibugyo strand has no approved vaccine and no cure, with an incubation that can last up to 3 weeks, where someone could walk through airports without symptoms, and once those symptoms hit, the body begins shutting down with no way to stop it. And with Americans already reportedly exposed to suspected cases inside the DRC, 80% of people on Kalshi believe a confirmed Ebola case will reach American soil before the year is over, with the percentage rising every single day on there.
Are we screwed?
This movie breaks down the end result of the rat race.
What if I told you Insane was working 50 hours a week in some office for 50 years, at the end of which they tell you to piss off, ending up at some retirement village, hoping to die before suffering the indignity of trying to make it to the toilet on time? Wouldn't you consider that to be insane?
Stay weird.
Holy fuck, Chad. Epstein's chef says he's still alive. Watch this.
There's no way.
There's no way this is true,
he's
though.
Still dead.
How? What's
He's
your
alive
proof?
somewhere.
Why?
Paid to get out.
Where's your
It's
supporting?
not out of the realm of possibility. Which makes me look at that 1 minute of missing videotape in the jail and think, that they just so happened to have rebooted the camera every night at midnight, but no other night had that blackout. Mm-hmm.
Do whatever you do, don't watch Peter Pan at night, because some of the theories behind Peter Pan are genuinely disturbing and will make you kind of see him as very different. Most people remember Peter Pan as a magical Disney movie based off pirates, magic, and Neverland. However, as you get older, the story becomes creepy, because if you think about it, Peter Pan never got the chance to grow up, and all he does is spend time in a place where children never age, and he steals children from their homes. One of the darkest theories is that Neverland is not like a magical island at all. It actually represents the afterlife, which makes this super creepy, especially in the older movies where Peter Pan is described as a spirit that guides children away from their homes. Yeah, that is not fun. Even creepier, they say that they're called the Lost Boys, because they're actually dead children, and if you look a little closer, there's actually scary details about Peter Pan himself. He tends to be smiling and laughing in dangerous situations, and he doesn't seem to care when people get hurt. He acts very emotionless, throughout the entire time. Then they say that Captain Hook is not really the bad guy. He says that he's trying to save children from the evilness of Peter Pan, which honestly just kind of switches everything around. He says that's why he's terrified of the time passing, because Peter Pan wants these children to stay children. And honestly, the old Disney animation just makes this creepier. So let me know what you guys think about these creepy theories.
Did you hear about the virus that's going around recently?
Oh yeah, the Hansa?
Yeah. What's so crazy, Planet of the Apes was about a virus.
Wait, was it?
You don't know the original story?
No, I actually don't.
The source of the virus was traced back to drug testing done at Genesis Laboratories in San Francisco.
A lab technician, now known as Patient Zero, was accidentally exposed to retrovirus ALZ-113, an Alzheimer's trial drug that was being tested on chimpanzees.
They were researching on a cure for Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
He pretty much gave it to his chimp to test, and it made his chimp smart.
Oh.
What ended up happening, because he became smart, he took that cure and gave it to all the monkeys in the zoo, the primate sanctuaries, every one of them, all the apes.
They all had a consciousness.
They all had consciousness, and then eventually they were able to speak because they given all the apes that serum.
Yeah.
There ended up becoming a virus.
Oh. So
it made a lot of humans sick, and it killed a whole bunch of humans. And then the chimps became smart, but the humans dumbed down.
They started to die down.
Yeah. And eventually the virus
virus made it so that humans stopped speaking. What? They started losing their voice. Yo, that could be what's happening right now.
And the mortality rate associated with this type of illness is around 38%. So more than a third of the people, according to the Center for Disease Control in the United States, will die.
We're just gonna act like Kanye and Kim weren't caught seeing each other in this car here. Look how shocked both of them look. It's low-key giving Kim don't even care, bro. It's more Kanye that's gonna look like the bad player boy now. Probably asking why they were caught seen together and why they were even with each other. So basically, Kim is going through a bad scandal right now when it comes to her brand Skims. Okay. So allegedly there was a Skim shipment found with $8.4 million of snowflakes, if you get what I'm saying. Bro, that's a lot of snowfall, and I can see why she's going to her billionaire ex-husband right here, like baby daddy. Bro, if it ain't someone that can beat scandals, change the narrative, and still be a billionaire, it's Kanye West, right? But low-key, this actually isn't funny. I can see how mentally distressed Kim looks here, bro. I'm just glad her and Kanye can come together when it actually matters in life. Obviously they're kids as well, but when they need each other there as people, you gotta look at it like this. In Hollywood, there's so many fake people that are out to get you and backstab you and even create false narratives like this one, maybe allegedly. So Kim believes this whole Skim shipment was a setup by the driver, and now she's dealing with so much in court and her personal life. Kanye being there for Kim when she needs him the most, this is the most wholesome thing you can see out of a Hollywood story, and it doesn't surprise me it's Kanye West doing it.
In July 1980, Cosmopolitan magazine featured Jeffrey Epstein as Bachelor of the Month. And wow, that's just insane in general. He was 27 years old at this time, meaning literally 3 years before, he was a high school math teacher, okay? What did he have to do to climb the social hierarchy of American media to get to that position, or to even get that publicity? What was going on? Who did this? Who arranged this? I need to know. But also, this is the sex issue. They put it in the sex issue. There is a sex issue there. But anyways, this is my driver. How many girls were like, oh, I'm going to follow up on this, and it was actually just a freaking recruitment opportunity for him, right? Does no one see that as insane? Cosmo didn't know. Sure, girl.
If you think you come from a small town, you don't, unless you live here. It's literally sinking. There are only 2 stores in this town. This clearly is a history museum. Kind of looks like someone's house, like a front porch. There are no cars, only golf carts, bicycles, or you could walk. And the dialect of people who were born and raised on Tangier Island is crazy. Here's a video you can hear. Sound on. What's he saying?
She was behind the counter. She said, it's a Lolly Jack. I said, who's that, Mom?
I got counter, and who's that?
We have over top spots instead of in them. Pots there, where they're at. Where are they at? Just outside in the ain't no pots there.
I'm trying to understand.
No further, that crowd going out.
If we're talking among ourselves, we might form it.
So you'll see a lot of houses that are almost sinking. You can see there's barely something a structure under this house, and a lot of them kind of look like this. If you look real close, it's whoa, that house is barely hanging on. And I do kind of love that there's no cars, but you either have to walk, take a bike, or a golf cart. This is located in the Chesapeake Bay, Virginia, and it honestly is beautiful. It really is. I love the water, but there is no place in the world, well, maybe no place in the U.S. that even comes close to this kind of heritage. I mean, from my knowledge, there's literally only 2 stores, one grocery store and then this museum, and that's it. Everyone knows everyone. It's literally like a town that you would see in a movie, which is insane. Would you go here? Would you go visit? Because I feel I definitely would.
Business as usual stopped when 56-year-old Clay Duke stepped to the front of the room and began spray painting a wall with an ominous red symbol seen in the movie V for Vendetta.
The facial expressions on the board members kind of hinted that something odd was happening, and then I saw the gun.
Nadine Yanis, a reporter for local station WMBB, hit the floor as Duke ordered the women and children from the room. Moments later, board member Ginger Littleton sneaks behind Duke and tries to knock the gun from his hand with her purse.
If he wanted to kill her at that moment, he could have, and he didn't.
Duke lets her go, and tension builds as he rants at the male board members over a sales tax increase, while Superintendent Bill Husfeld tries to calm him.
Just listen to me for a minute. I don't want anybody to get hurt, and I've got a feeling that what you want is the cops come in and kill you because you're mad, because you said you're going to die today. For what? This isn't worth it. This is a problem. Please don't. Please don't.
This incident, known as the Panama City School Board shootings, occurred on December 14th, 2010 in Panama City, Florida. So on that day, a disgruntled man named Clay Allen Duke entered a school board meeting, and what happened next was nothing short of terrifying. I mean, you saw that initial report at the beginning, but Clay essentially spray painted a V for Vendetta symbol on the wall, which a lot of people take to mean anarchy, rebellion, and he then held the school board members hostage. He also excused the women in the room, told them that they should leave, and basically told the school board that he only had an issue with the male members. Once he had the school board members held hostage, he told them that he was angry his wife had been fired from her job as an English teacher in the Panama City School District. And cameras actually captured the moment that one of the female school board members actually attempted to disarm Clay. She obviously failed in her attempt, but I mean, the footage is just unbelievable. So eventually, Clay ended up opening fire on the school board members, and all in all, he fired 4 or 5 different shots at the 6 school board members, but he missed every single one of the shots. Now, Clay's wife would later say that he was an expert marksman, and she believes that he missed those shots on purpose. But all of a sudden, in the midst of the shooting, the school's head of safety and security, a retired police officer named Mike Jones, opened fire. Mike ended up striking Clay and wounding him, which caused Clay to fall to the ground. Clay then opened fire and shot back at Mike blindly, but once again, he wasn't hurt or hit, and before he could be taken into custody, Clay ended his own life on the floor. This is horrific footage from an absolutely horrific situation, and I couldn't show the full clip, obviously, on here because it's incredibly graphic, but this is just the sad reality of living here in America. These things and these events are extremely commonplace. If you want to hear more true crime stories, listen to my wife and I's podcast, Murder in America, available on all streaming platforms.
U.S. authorities just found over $8 million of the white stuff hidden in Kim Kardashian's Skims shipment. It's this white stuff right here. Jacob Konkel is the Polish truck driver who was sentenced 13 years and 6 months in prison for carrying the white powder in 28 pallets of Skims clothing. It was 90 packages of this, and then it totaled 198 pounds. The street value for it was $8.4 million.
Anyway, she ended up taking it to court, and guess what? It was dismissed, rightfully so. Seriously. The bottom line here is, I mean, seriously, as a whole, the world, we all need to do a little bit better. And that includes law enforcement as well. We all know you guys have a tough job out there. We all respect law enforcement, and we thank you for everything you do for us on a daily basis. But when it comes to stuff like this,
giving a ticket to a person,
you gotta just,
saying that they had a hand,
chalk up your losses
phone
and
in their hand,
let it go. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
That's absolutely insane. He should get
Another cold case has been solved as police say they have arrested the man responsible for the infamous Sundrop murders that killed 2 in North Carolina in 2008. At around 10 a.m. on June 13th, 2008, police in Concord, North Carolina responded to a report of a shooting inside the Sundrop Bottling Company plant in Concord. Inside the building, responding officers found Donna Barnhart and Daryl Knowles shot to death. They both had gunshot wounds and were pronounced dead at the scene. 59-year-old Donna was the company's office manager for nearly 2 decades. 44-year-old Daryl was at the plant to apply for a job. There was some evidence collected at the crime scene, but it did not lead anywhere at the time. However, police were able to speak with witnesses who said they saw a man leaving the scene, and that led to this composite sketch of a possible suspect. Over the years, Concord police continued to investigate, submit evidence for testing, try to identify this suspect, and following up on hundreds of tips that they received. But unfortunately, the case went cold and remained that way for 17 years. But they never gave up on finding Donna and Daryl's killer. And that perseverance finally paid off when, in 2025, they finally identified a suspect. According to a press release from Concord Police, quote, through a meticulous re-examination of evidence and the pursuit of previously undeveloped leads, detectives uncovered critical information. On December 19th, 2025, Concord Police detectives contacted the Port Angeles Police Department in Washington about 43-year-old Johnny Stephen Talbert. And then on May 18th, 2026, police traveled to Washington. And 3 days later, on May 21st, Talbert was arrested in connection with Donna and Daryl's deaths. Talbert will be charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of robbery with a firearm or other dangerous weapon when he is extradited back to North Carolina. Right now, he's being held without bail in Washington. We don't know what evidence exactly led to Talbert's arrest and how he is connected to the victims, but he was just 25 years old at the time of the murders. But for now, police said no further information will be released to, quote, protect the integrity of the case and pursuit of justice for Donna and Daryl. Following the news of Talbert's arrest, the family of Donna Barnhart released a statement saying, "Our family wishes to formally express our sincere gratitude to the Concord Police Department for its dedication, professionalism, and perseverance in resolving an investigation that remained active for 18 years. For nearly 2 decades, investigators and supporting personnel demonstrated an unwavering commitment to seeking answers and pursuing justice. Their persistence, integrity, and tireless efforts ensured this case was never forgotten." They continued, quote, "The resolution of this investigation has brought long-awaited answers and a measure of peace to our family. While time cannot erase loss or hardship, we are deeply grateful for the compassion, diligence, and determination shown throughout this process." So like I said, we don't know exactly what led to Talbert's arrest, but it seems like police have enough to prove that he did it. And hopefully, finally, after 18 years, Donna and Daryl will be getting the justice they deserve.
My friends thought I was crazy for saying that Hollywood is filled of vampires, but this video is real.
I guess drink each other's blood might mislead people, or like people are imagining us with like goblets and we're like Game of Thrones drinking each other's blood. It's just a few drops, but yes, we do consume each other's blood on occasion for ritual purposes only. It is used for a reason, and it is controlled where it's like, let's shed a few drops of blood and each drink it.
Girl, what do you mean for ritualistic purposes? That's not holy. That's also not natural. Let's not normalize that. Anyways, this is my driver.
So they just admitted that they drink blood for rituals and no one's saying anything?
From Jennifer's body 10 years ago. I don't know. Something's weird.
That's insane.
This is so creepy. Jeffrey Epstein was growing a highly toxic and potentially lethal plant that caused really strange effects. This is very much real, and documents from the Epstein files released by the DOJ confirm this, so let's talk about it. So Epstein was growing Angel's trumpet plants in his private greenhouse, which contains a highly toxic substance called